So my last two videos, I've talked about sort of the things that I maybe aren't doing right as an indie author, the things that, um, the mistakes I've made in sort of the publishing world. Today, I want to talk about the mistakes I've made specifically in the writing world. Hi, my name is Jennifer Grigson. I'm a young adult author who has 3 books currently on the market and is currently writing her first urban fantasy series. So mistake number 1 is that I just took way too long to write my first few books. And some of that was sort of out of my control. I was writing along with caring for a very small child. He is 13 now, but I started writing when he was really little and didn't publish the first book until he was 7 or 8, in that general range. And then it took like 3 years after that, I guess, to do the second book, and then like a year and a half after that to do the third book. So I just took way too long. Again, this is something that got better over time. This is something that I got better. I got better at writing quicker, better at outlining so that my drafts were better, because the second book I had to scrap and start all the way over, like completely 70,000 words in the trash. I had to start all the way over. Again, some of these things are not in my control, but it was a mistake I think that I made. I waited way too long in between books. Mistake number 2, and this is something I talked about in one of the other videos, is that I didn't promote my books as much as I should have. Now, especially the first book. I wrote my first book and I went, hey, I wrote a book. Hey guys, I wrote a book. I published it. Isn't that neat? Okay, I wrote a book, and I didn't do anything beyond that, because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But you know what? It is a big deal. I have published 3 books, and that is a very big deal. I mean, do you realize the number of people that say, hey, I want to write a book, and then never do anything about it, or start a book and say, hey, I'm going to finish this book, and then never finish it? The fact that I have written and published 3 books is a big deal, and I should have definitely promoted that first book way more than I did. Mistake number 3 is, for my second book especially, I knew about halfway through the first draft that I really didn't like the main character. And instead of stopping, instead of rethinking, instead of getting some outside help, I had an editor. I still have her. She's adorable, and I love her. And I could have gone to her with my problems beforehand, instead of writing 70,000 words on a draft that by the end of it I was not really happy with. And that is a huge mistake I made, because I had to scrap that whole, like I said, 70,000 words and start all the way over with a character that I loved. And the thing is, I sent it to my editor and she said, I don't even like this character. I feel like you don't even like this character. She could tell halfway through the book that I stopped liking my main character. And if I had been really in tune, I would have picked up on that a lot earlier. For my third book, I did pick up on some stuff earlier. I did reach out to her. I did get help. So I learned. So I think the mistake I made, and I think the mistake some people make, is thinking they have to power through, right? And I'm not talking about that, oh, I'm 3/4 of the way through and I'm scared, so I'm just going to quit. I think sometimes you have to power through, right? But I'm talking about that I was definitely hearing a ping tell me something wasn't working, and I was just not listening. And I am learning to trust my intuition more. I am learning to listen to that tingly feeling that says something is not working, and I'm able to stop, get help, or figure it out, try something different, keep going. And that has made a world of difference in how much better my first few drafts are. Mistake number 4 is not taking myself seriously as an author, right? Not claiming the word author. And so I didn't give myself the time. I didn't give my books the attention and the space that they needed, that they deserved. I didn't give myself that gift, right? I think that goes into number 1, right? It took so long to write that first book. Mistake number 2, I didn't promote that book. I was like, hey, I did a thing. Hey, hi. I didn't say, hey guys, I wrote a book. I wrote a freaking book, right? So I didn't claim it. It was just it was something I did. I very shyly said, hey, I wrote a book. Isn't that neat? And then I disappeared, right? Like that meme, Homer Simpson going into the bush, right? I didn't claim it until my second book. I didn't really feel it deep, deep, deep until my third book. And that was definitely a mistake. I did not give these things that I loved, these characters that I loved, these worlds that I was creating that I loved, the time, the space, and the care that they needed and that they deserved and that I deserved. And mistake number 5 might not seem like a writing mistake, but to me it definitely is, and it definitely was, is I didn't read enough. I didn't read in my genre enough to sort of figure out what tropes, what expectations needed to be dealt with for my audience. I didn't read outside my genre just to learn about the indie publishing world in general. I didn't read nonfiction to learn more about the business. So I took a lot of classes, right? So I took a self-publishing course. I took a self-editing course, like how to edit your book, how to do that first pass by yourself. That was invaluable. But I didn't read a lot of books at the beginning. And I really feel like maybe I shortchanged myself. And so now I make it a habit to, at the beginning of the year, pick out a few books. What am I going to read that's going to help with the business side of writing? And what can I read both in my genre and out of my genre for entertainment, but also to help me further learn how to write what I want to write? So some people might say, well, that's not really a writing mistake, but I really think, I don't think it hindered me, but I think it definitely had a hand in the slowness of my writing. And so those are the 5 writing mistakes that I think I've made. I am not saying I'll never make a writing mistake again, because I think with each new project, with each new book, comes with new problems and new issues and new things to learn. So if you would like to keep up with my new writing mistakes, so I invite you to click the link in the description box below to join the wait list for my new urban fantasy series. I just opened it up, and I will be sending out monthly updates, sort of behind the scenes sneak peeks, and you'll get a little glimpse into the writing mistakes I'm currently making as I write this new genre for me. I make videos every Friday, so please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next week.